Welcome back. This is the Lightforge podcast card review for Festival of Legends. We are doing Druid now, and we are going to start this off with our second S tier card of this set. Two of three. I said there were going to be three. We did one already, which was the Death Knight card Arcanite Ripper, and now Druid gets the second one. This is Tambourine in Druid. This one's an epic card. You're really not going to see it that often, and thank God, because this card is. I'm just gonna tell you what it is. You'll see. 4 mana, 2/3 weapon. So not great so far. Death Rattle, summon 1/5/5 ancient. Wow, so good, right? Like summon a 5/5 ancient. That is so much. You normally don't even get a 5/5 for 4 mana, and you get that weapon to start with. Okay. And now here's the kicker. Play cards that cost 5 mana or more while equipped to improve. So any card that is 5 mana or more. And in the arena, you're gonna have plenty of cards that are 5 mana or more. That's not like a impossible to fill condition. In fact, if you play this card on curve, your next card is probably a 5-drop that's 5 mana, and this has 3 charges, so even if you're just swinging with it, you will still have 2 turns, not including the turn you play it, to play cards that are 5 mana or more. Now, what does improving it mean? You would think that to improve a 5/5 ancient, you would just make a 6/6 ancient, right? Like, that's not that big of a deal. But no, improving it improves how many you summon. So if you improve it once, that means if on turn 5 or turn 6, you play one card that is 5 mana or above, then you get 2 5/5 ancients. If you hold off a bit, let's say you have like a 7 mana card, or like an 8 mana card, and you just hold this weapon for a bit, which is fine, by the way, because remember, Druid has no weapons. You're not even holding a slot for anything. And Druid with weapons has the same thing Demon Hunter has, where you use your hero power and then you get that extra damage if you need, right? Anyway, if you hold it a bit and you play let's say 3 of the large cards before you eventually trigger this, which is totally possible in a normal Druid arena deck, then you will get 4 5/5 ancients. 4 5/5 ancients. That is 40 stats for 4 mana. And you already had a weapon that's probably normally would be like a 3 mana weapon. That's like an okay weapon. So for that 1 extra mana and quite a few turns of delay, you get 20 stats. But S tier card. S tier card in the Druid. It is an epic card. That is its only saving grace. Because this is just doing normal arena stuff. Normal arena stuff will just get you this crap. Now, this is also the delay does hurt it. Because if it's just 20 stats in addition to a weapon or whatever, this would be like an S tier card. But it's actually just an S tier card. It's not even an S tier card. Because that delay does matter, right? You are delaying it by quite a bit if you want to get this full synergy. And if you don't get the full synergy, you are getting way more stats than you should, but it's not like colossal levels of game winning, right? It's just below the colossal level because colossals are all S plus plus. All right, that is your first Druid card. We're not done. We're done with the S tier cards, but Druid has 3 A tier cards. Now, thankfully, they're all rare. So none of the common Druid cards are A tier, but all the rare ones are. Groovy Cat is next. 2 mana, 2/1 beast. Battle Cry and Death Rattle. Your hero power gives your hero 1 more attack this game. That's really good. Your hero power turns from dealing 1 damage to 2 damage. 2 mana, 2 damage? Endlessly? That's pretty damn good. And that's just the Battle Cry. Because in reality, it might as well happen at the same time. This thing has 1 health. So your hero power is really going to deal 3 damage. And if there's something we know about dealing 3 damage, it's not that you're going to keep removing minions with it, which you know, is really good. 2 mana, deal 3 damage to remove a minion, super good. But you're eventually going to take a lot of damage by doing that. What you're really going to do with this hero power is freaking go face. And then it's like that hunter hero power, or as someone in chat just said, frozen touch. Yes, it's like a unlimited frozen touch, a unlimited buffed hunter hero power as long as you can get through a taunt. It is insanely powerful. um why is this only an A tier card rather than, let's say, a S tier card? Is because unlike Frozen Touch, you do have to get through a taunt. So there is actually a way to like make sure that you don't just lose the game, right? With like the Frozen Touches and the Hunter Hero powers, because it goes through taunts, you set up a certain thing and it almost doesn't matter what they do. Like unless they heal, you're just gonna beat them. For here, every single turn you have to hit them to the face, which means it has to be taunted up. Um, so yeah. Uh, you also have to like play a 2 mana 2/1, which is not good and is not an on curve card. So there's also that. So there's a little bit of stuff holding it back from being like truly super ridiculously busted. But yeah. And yes, you can stack Groovy Cats to create the most ridiculous hero power. But yeah, hero power still once a turn. You're still not doing multiple hero powers a turn, right? Frozen touches, you can do multiples in a turn. So each frozen touch is like at least a fireball. Your hero power for this druid is still only going to deal 3 a turn. So it's all a bit more manageable, right? That's why it's not like this insanely ridiculous card. Still very, very good. Draft it. A tier card. Next one. Summer Flower Child. Summer Flower Child is a 5 mana druid card, 4/5. Battle Cry. Draw 2 cards that cost 6 or more. Finale, they cost 1 less. I don't really understand this finale. This finale feels kind of weak, but what it's meant to do is to ramp those cards, right? So if you draw 2 cards, they're like 8 cost cards. They are now 7 cost cards. You can like play them earlier. That's what the finale's for. Overall, it's an A tier card. Not because drawing 2 cards that are 6 or more is not super duper duper busted, even though this card is a little under curve. It's the fact that there are going to be some times in which you don't have 2 cards that cost 6 or more. That's not like an impossible scenario. And if you don't have those large cards that are in your deck still, then this card becomes quite pedestrian. But otherwise, A tier cards. You play it, you take a little bit of a tempo hit, and you get some more big cards. It's a very, very good card draw card. All right. After that, we have Drum Circle. Another A tier card. 7 mana. Choose one. Nature spell. Choose one. Summon 5 2/2 Treants, or give your minions +2/+4 and taunt. This is exactly what you want. Like, some choose ones are whatever. Some choose ones are done in a very good way. This one's done in a very good way. If this card just said summon 5 2/2 Treants, it would be a high B. It's not anything super special. It's kind of like what you would expect to happen at 7 mana these days. But it's getting a lot of value for its ability to be a buff and a game ender. Because if you're trying to build any kind of deck in which summoning 5/2/2 Treants does anything in the late game, then you're trying to put together a deck that has a lot of buff alls, that has a lot of tokens, right? Like that's what you're doing. So if you already have those tokens, Drum Circle is a game ender. It either creates so much tempo that your opponent can't deal with it, or it just literally ends the game by being a Savage Roar. Remember that card, Savage Roar? So yeah, Drum Circle. I wouldn't say it's a high A. It's probably the lowest A. It's probably the worst card out of these 3. But it is exactly what you want. That choose one is exactly what you want. And it combos with so many things that Druid has. It also, because this card now exists now, and all the other cards, there is just no reason you should ever let the Druid have anything on their board. Like, Druid is Paladin levels of clear everything. Or I don't know, maybe leave like one, right? Like, because paladins have single buffs. For druid, it's the massive buffs that you care about. So if you leave like one thing on the board, it's probably not the end of the world. But if you ever leave them with like 2 or 3 things on the board and you're like trying to go face or whatever, right? The drum circle punish. Like you are saying, you don't have a drum circle because a normal druid, if they have a few things on the board and they buff it all, it may still be too late for them, right? Like they may have a bunch of stats, but like they still need taunt. Here, it's not just a bunch of stats. It's not just the potential for lethal, but they also all have taunt, and so your opponent will never get through if they like chose to go face and ignore your minions before. So it's a huge punish for one of like the sneaky ways to beat a druid. All right, so those are your A tier cards. Next, we have a B tier card. This one's common. It's a Peaceful Piper, 1 mana, 1/1. Choose one, draw a beast, or discover one. Cool. Discover a beast, not that great. Draw a beast, probably not that great. But who knows, right? Maybe you have already drawn your smaller beast. Maybe you only have a big beast or like a really powerful beast in your deck. You get to pick the B tier card. After this, we go to C tier cards. Spread the word, 4 mana, draw 2 cards, cost 1 less for each attack your hero has. If you synergized it and you played the cat, spread the word becomes really good. Otherwise, it's a C tier card. You do have to synergize it with some kind of like buff, right? Otherwise, Arcane Intellect is pretty bad these days. This one's 4 mana, so it's even worse. But it effectively is 3 mana if you even have to hero power something, like a normal hero power thing. Like you have to take care of that 3/1 on the board, right? So you use your hero power anyway, and then all of a sudden this is an Arcane Intellect. Not great, but it's like at least playable. And if you synergize it with any kind of like face buff, then this becomes very low. Like there's decent amount of stuff that gives you like 3 attack to your face, or like even 4 attack, and then this becomes 1 mana or free. So yeah, it's a synergy card. Also, Free Spirit. Let's cover Free Spirit. Free Spirit is a epic card. This one's also a C. 1 mana, 1/2, undead, and a beast. Battle Cry and Death Rattle. Your hero power gains 1 more armor this game. Not as good as gaining attack, but hey, your hero power becomes armor up for 3, and still have that 1 attack. So that's pretty good. I don't know. It's a healing card, right? Like heals only do so much. But it's a C. Usually healing cards are lower than a C. This one's even better than a Yeti because it does. If you can heal 3 per, if you can heal 3 per turn, that really puts your opponent in a bind, right? Like all of a sudden, 100 hero powers don't affect you anymore. Like all of a sudden, you've put like so many more games out of reach. But yeah, but still at the end of the day, it's a healing card. Finally, the last non-legendary card is Harmonic Mood. Harmonic Mood is a 2 mana common spell. Give your hero +2 attack this turn, gain 4 armor. This is a D tier card. It does swap each turn, so what you really want to play it as is the 2 mana Heroic Strike, gain +4 attack. That also gives you 2 armor. But that only happens half the time. So this is effectively a heroic strike that gets you 2 more armor, but like you can only use it half the time. That's not good. And heroic strike these days isn't that good. Like that was a old school classic card, right? So I don't know. It's got to be a synergy thing. Like this has to be a synergy thing for a constructed deck, because for arena, you really got to match those synergies up for this to do anything. All right. Legendary cards. Let's look at the Druid legendary cards. And before we get to it, like you're trying to look at what Druid is doing, right? What they're trying to do with Druid for this set. Obviously, one thing is buff the hero power, but the other thing is to play with the 2 parts of the hero power, right? Which is attack and armor. Attack and armor synergizes with a bunch of stuff. So, is it going to come together for the Druid? Not really, I don't think. Like, I think all the synergies are going to be these like small pieces that may like work here or there, but it's not like super easy to pull off in the arena. Um, you're going to use the synergies, but you're not going to get that because these all synergies all kind of build, right? And in arena where you don't get to pick the cards that are in your deck as well, they don't build as much, so they're kind of in control. Now they're all pretty independently good cards, so you're going to put them in the deck, and you're going to feel the fact that you do have synergy, but it's going to be in control, except for Tambourine, which is not really a synergy and is not in control at all. All right, legendary cards. The minion is Zog Flogsnout. Zog Flogsnout is a 7 mana 6/6 Quillbore. Battlecry, summon 2/1/1 Quillbores with Taunt. And they are improved by your hero attack and armor gained this turn. So you're going to hero power, obviously, because having 2/2 taunts is better than having 1/1 taunts. And sorry, having 3/3 taunts is better than having a 1/1 taunts. Um, but you already spent 7 mana on this. So your other synergies have to be 3 mana and below at most. So it ends up being a B. You can just treat it. Oh, sorry. Hero powers make them 2/2s, now 3/3s. So you can treat it as a 7 mana 6/6 with 2/2/2s with taunt. Like, sorry, not 7 mana. 9 mana 6/6 with 2/2/2s and taunt, and you get that hero power. Like, it's good. It's a B tier card. It's just not like anything special. The legendary aspect of it involves combos that you probably won't have. Like, you could hit, but you probably won't have them. That's a worse Scenarius? Yes. Scenarius is better than a B tier card. All right. The last card here is the spell. The spell here is actually quite good. 4 mana nature spell. Choose one secretly. Summon 3/5/5 ancients in 2 turns, or 8/8 giants in 4 turns. So you get to pick whether to wait 2 turns to get the payoff or to wait 4 turns to get the payoff. This one is a plus card. It's almost a S tier card. The secretly doesn't really matter. It's more just that you spend 4 mana and you're getting 3/5/5s. So 4 mana gets you 30 stats. Like what? It's delayed 2 turns, but like what? It just does that. There's no conditional. There's no there's no anything. It just does that. And if you're wondering whether to get 3/5/5 in 2 turns or 3/8/8 in 4 turns, you can probably just win the game with 3/5/5. So I don't see the point of waiting. Like, you'd much rather close off the ability of your opponent to like overrun you, right? Because you have spent 4 mana and done nothing. Than getting that extra boost. But you can also do that based on what your opponent is doing, right? Like if your opponent is a priest and just focused on removing all your stuff, for example, maybe you go for the 8/8s. But then again, also if they're a priest, the 8/8s probably won't do anything to them either. They're going to just remove all the 8/8s and save for it. Because after you play this, right, it may be secretly choose, but either of these choices, the priest is going to save their board clear for. Anyway, point is, insanely powerful card, pick it. That's it for Druid. Nothing more. We're gonna move on. See you guys in the next class, which is Hunter.